So basically, Reatla means we are coming in Sepedi, Sesotho, Tswana. So what Project Reatla is about is basic transport planning. We've discovered that it is very important to have a good transport plan for city development. So to connect all industries from economic to companies such as production companies. So it is very important to have a good transport plan. So Project Reatla basically focuses on transporting employers to their workplaces. And there are different factors that influence the choice that people, the transport choice that people make. But to some people, it's not really a choice. It's just what they have. So factors such as economic background, their affordability, if they can afford a certain transport mode, gender, but this, when it comes to gender, it's mostly about safety, which transport mode is safer for them at a specific travel time, and availability and accessibility of such transportation in their areas. So the objective is to understand the commuter's transport mode usage. We decided not to use the term transport mode choice because it's not a choice for everyone, so you'll see the term transport mode usage coming up a lot of times. The other objective is to determine the distribution of transport mode amongst different features such as gender, such as level of income, and to evaluate a model that best represents the most likely transport mode in that area, and to provide recommendation on the most suitable transport project for that specific area. So our scope was that we are focusing on eThekwini municipality. According to Stats essay that was released at the last quarter of 2018, it showed that eThekwini had the lowest unemployment rate, which decreased quarterly by 1.1%. So it is very good to establish a good transport mode to take those people to their places of employment, to support that employment rate to increase. So we will be focusing only on people traveling to their places of employment. And the data we received was from the National Household Travel Survey that was done in 2013. So it started off with 8,278 entries for the eThekwini municipality, and we chose the working age, which is between 15 years and 65 years, and only we were focusing on people who use only one mode of transport. In other words, people who don't change from buses to train. But we'll explore that further down. It was just beyond our scope at this point. And then we removed all the data that was unspecified or that were blank because we needed those information to run our model. So we ended up with 957 entries in a final data set.
So we have visualized all of the independent features that we identified. The first one is a histogram showing the time taken to get to work. As we see, 50% of the respondents took between half an hour to an hour to travel to work. Next, we have a histogram showing the cost to travel to work. This is the monthly cost. And as we see, 90% of the respondents spent between 0 to 500 Rand a month to travel to work. The next few visualizations are all stacked bar graphs plotted against gender. Our first one shows age against gender. As we see, 40% of the respondents were between the ages of 26 and 35 years. We then have race by gender, and overwhelmingly 80% are African, and a significant amount were Indian, with whites and colored being quite a small amount. We then have the highest level of education according to the NQF, which is the National Qualification Framework that is used in South Africa. There's about 45% that have less than grade 12, and 43% have a grade 12 or matriculation. That's NQF level 4. Then we have household income by gender. This is again the monthly household income, and we see 65% of the people on between 0 to 10,000 Rand per month. Then we have our response feature, which is the transport mode used. This was a binary response between a minibus taxi and other, where other contains buses, trains, cars, etc., we see that 73% of the respondents use a minibus taxi to travel to work.
Okay, so I'm just going to give a short description of what logistic regression is and basically why we chose it. So logistic regression is basically a statistical analysis method that models binary outcomes. It involves classifying binary observations by estimating the probability that a certain observation falls under a particular class. We use what we call a link function to link the linear combination of our independent features, and it's given by this function. So the goal is to model the probability of the transport mode usage, predict how transport mode is likely to be distributed, and to achieve that goal, a model will be estimated, including all the predictive features useful in predicting the response feature. So we have our logistic regression results. After estimating our coefficients, we had to evaluate which features were significant in predicting our response feature. So we had to eliminate those features that had a p-value which was less than 0.05, which is our significant level. We eliminated them. We eliminated gender, education level, and household income, and we came up with the results as shown there.
So with every model, it is important to evaluate how accurate it is. So for our entire model, the accuracy was 77%, and for the entries that had minibus, it was 76%, and for entries that had other mode of transport, the accuracy was 72%. We were satisfied by this accuracy, but it's open for improvement. So overall, we were able to establish what kind of transport mode the commuters prefer. It turns out that at eThekwini, the most available transport mode was minibus. That's why we're comparing between minibus and other transport mode. And we're able to evaluate the distribution according to various features, where we found out which ones are significant and which ones are not very important in determining the transport mode of commuters. And we open for questions at the foyer for technical questions, but right now we can take any questions. Thank you for your time. Hi, my name is Riaribu. I'm from Project Reatla. Our project was basically about transport planning at the eThekwini municipality. We're studying how commuters choose their transport mode and what kind of transport projects can be done in certain areas out of that data that we used. Thank you.